What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and what a weekend it has been, man.
Lost losing your voice this weekend.
I know, and I haven't even been in the stadium. Bloody hell. It's been such a great weekend. I am on top of the world, and if you think it couldn't get better after the 4-1 drubbing of West Ham, Arsenal, we were eating cherries last night. I was sitting at home and I was being fed cherries just like that. It was unbelievable. Seriously, I actually said just before I signed off, we're going to be eating cherries tonight, and that's exactly what we were doing. Arsenal firmly in the mud, but this ain't about Arsenal today. This is about Spurs against West Ham. 4-1. I guess let's just get straight into the match review. Sim, you were at the stadium yesterday. Tell me about it.
It was a great day at the stadium. Atmosphere was early kickoff, so it wasn't the best atmosphere. But as soon as we got into like a 2-goal lead, you saw that everyone started to settle down. And after the game, there was some really good scenes, and everyone was ready to enjoy their weekend. But yeah, I think in the first half, there was a bit of tenseness about the fans, especially when we were 1-0 down early on. West Ham. Look, their game plan was working, to be fair, and it looks like it was working to perfection. Lopetegui came in with a plan to be very resolute, use Kudus and Burn on the wings to hurt us, obviously stifle us in the centre, playing very physical midfielders, which we predicted they would. And it was very, very hard to break him down. Kudus was getting all sorts of joy in that first half, and every time he got the ball, you just felt like something was going to happen. He was going to make something happen, and that's what he can do. But actually, Bowen as well was giving Udogie all sorts of trouble down their left-hand side, right-hand side, our left-hand side, and I think at 1-0, we were kind of struggling to create clear-cut chances. West Ham, I don't think they're opening us time and time again, but obviously had a couple of chances. They got their goal, and it looked like it could be one of those very frustrating days for us. But I think, after we conceded, after that like 10-minute period after we conceded, obviously we got that goal through Kulusevski, and then literally it was like a big weight had been lifted off our shoulders as soon as that goal went in. I think we started to play our football again, started to quicken things up. I think the team started to settle down, and we didn't look back, did we, as soon as the goal went in? Even though we made that sub at half-time, which we'll talk about, even before half-time, we could have been 2-1 up with some of the chances we created before the end of the half. So I think that goal definitely settled us down. I think the whole stadium was there was a big sigh of relief when that goal went in. It was a bit of a weird one because it rolled across the line and we weren't quite sure whether to celebrate or not. But obviously the goal was given, and as soon as that went in, I think Tottenham just didn't look back.
Yeah, I felt like Spurs came out the traps actually pretty well, and I mean Kulusevski bought like 2 fouls, didn't he, in the first like 10 minutes, and you saw from the second that we kicked off, Decky was just on it, and he was on another one. 1-0 to Man City. City. Sorry, 1-0 to Wolves. Wolves just taking the lead. But anyway, you saw that Decky was just in the mood from the off, like he has been all season, and I felt like we were dominating the possession. We just couldn't really hurt West Ham on a consistent basis. And when then they get the goal, they go in the ascendancy for a little bit. But then I felt like Spurs once we got on top of the pressure and we really started to make it show, we were creating chances. We ended the first half really strongly. And I guess it was a sign of things to come, what was going to come in the second half. And that goal that we did score, the first goal that we did score, unbelievable from Dom Solanke, the way he won the ball in the middle of the park. That little touch, that little pass just to set Maddison off. Maddison just charged through that empty space. And then obviously Decky did the rest and kind of kissed one, it hit Areola, kissed one post, kissed another post, went in. It all seemed to happen in just slow motion. And I think like Spurs, from the first half, we weren't playing our best football, but I still think for the most part we did dominate the first half. Like before they scored, we were dominating the possession without really hurting them too much. They had like that bank of 5, which we found it really hard to break down. So we were dominating the game without really hurting too much. And then West Ham did kind of have their moment. They had about 10-15 minutes where they were really on top. They had that chance with Mohamed Kudus at the back post where the defending was all over the place, and that was a kind of a sign of what was going to come a few minutes later, because it was a similar thing. Udogie gets beaten one-on-one way too easily by Jarrod Bowen, and Kudus is there at the back post completely free once again, and he didn't make a mistake the second time. But the second half was just a completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, 100%. But I actually think some of the defending in that first half was quite weak, to be fair.
It was.
I thought Todibo was actually, funnily enough, was probably actually having a really good game in that first half, I felt. And I thought his long-range passing was getting us in a lot of trouble. He was able to find Kudus and Bowen in spaces. I think for the goal, if you see it, if you watch it back, it's a long ball forward towards Kudus. And Porro just is very weak. He allows Kudus to bully him back into him and bring the ball down in the dangerous area. And obviously, they then bring Bowen into the game and they get a goal. But I thought it was fairly weak. I think a big reason why Ange made the change he did is because you see those two chances with Kudus, there's no one there reading the pullbacks. There's no one there. Twice he's completely free. And it's because if you actually, people are like getting on Porro's back for the goal. And I know he probably did poorly in the build up to the goal, but for the goal, he's got Souček. Souček would have been completely free if Porro's not there. So I don't think it's his fault. I just think when Bowen's pulling the ball back, none of the midfielders are picking him up, and someone's got to notice Porro's had to tuck in for Souček because either they've left Souček or that's his man, and so they've got to cover Kudus, and no one reacted quick enough. And I think Maddison was playing obviously on down that left-hand side, and Bowen was just getting way too much freedom down that left-hand side. He was taking on Udogie on the left. I actually think Van de Ven as well came out to confront him a couple of times and was struggling to deal with him. And we just need that extra protection down that side. They were getting too much joy on the counter-attacks. And I think that's obviously why we made the sub. We obviously got back in the game. To be fair, the pressure was building even before the goal because we were getting loads and loads of corners. Porro had that long shot.
The corners were dreadful though, weren't they?
The corners weren't great. But
we had 12 corners in that first half.
Yeah, none of them really did anything. Porro had that long shot, which Areola had to save and did really well to save, to be fair to him, and gobble up the second attempt. We had a couple of like pot shots. Obviously, Johnson had that half volley, which was well wobbed. That was quite early in the game. Sonny had a chance on the left-hand side, which whipped just wide of the post. So we had a few chances, kind of half chances, before obviously we scored the goal. And obviously the goal, you could say, was probably a half chance as well. But as soon as we got that goal, I think there was a flurry of chances right at the end of the half, wasn't it? Johnson had a header. Porro had that volley, which whisked just over the bar. Right at the end of the half, the last chance of the half, brilliant ball from Romero, found Son in behind, and his cutback Dom was there to poke home the empty net. So we could have easily been ahead before the second half. But I think what Ange probably thought at half time, well, you could see it. I don't know if you saw it on, you could see it on TV. When Ange is walking off at half time, he just calls over to Pape, he's like, "You're coming on." Like he knew as soon as the half time whistle went, he wanted to make a change.
We just needed more legs in those midfield. Like Kudus was just running rings around all our team.
But I think he probably felt, as much as that's true, it would have been easy, even at that point, to say, "Look how we ended the half. I'm just going to keep it the same, and we're going to win the game." I think he probably felt like the way the momentum has shifted in our favour. The only thing that's going to stop us winning is if we concede another sloppy goal, or if we allow them back in the game through getting Kudus and Bowen in the game. So if I can just get Sarr on, get that protection for the back four, get him next to Bissouma, so we have that protection, plugging the gap. So when Bowen's putting the ball back, we got someone like Sarr covering that position. When they're coming through them our midfield, I felt like yesterday it was way too easy for them to just go unchallenged through that midfield, get the ball to Bowen and Kudus, and as soon as Sarr came on, he was snapping at their heels, he was getting challenges in, he was getting in tackles, and as well, obviously it helped out Bissouma as well. And you add into that protection plus the momentum we'd already gained from getting that goal, it just led to Spurs being completely dominant in that second half. Albeit West Ham, I don't know what the score was, but West Ham did have a little flurry. They had that shot cleared off the line. I think it might have been at 4-1 already, but they had a shot cleared off the line. They had a few moments, but we obviously blitzed them right at the beginning of that second half.
It was at 4-1. It was at 4-1. If you bring up the phone a sec, I'll just show you the momentum bar and look at the momentum bar in the first half, which shows you, because the narrative is that we weren't very strong in the first half, but I did think we ended that first half so strong. And yeah, West Ham had 10-15 minutes and probably did have at one point the better chances in that first half, but I thought we did end really strong and really dominant. If you look at the stats as well for the first half, we had 1.15 XG to their 0.25. One big chance each though. 12 shots to their 5, 1, and where's the on targets? We had 2 shots on target to their 2. So, I mean, we were peppering them a bit at the end, but I felt like West Ham probably did have the better of the chances in the first half.
Well, they had 2 chances.
And they were
from
both good
Kudus.
chances.
Yeah, but they had the best chances, but I wouldn't say they had the better of the chances. If you ask me, like in a game of football, you ask me, would I rather have Tottenham set of chances or West Ham set of chances? I'd probably still choose Tottenham because we had more of them. We were forcing Areola into more saves. Brennan had that chance. Son had that cutback. Like, I'd rather create that level of chances and just create 2 good chances in a half. So as much as, look, they'll feel like they're well worth getting in the lead when they did because they were defending resolutely and it was hard to break them down. And as well, obviously, they created a couple of openings, but I wouldn't say they were keeping us quiet. We still had our moments, we still had our chances, and I think when we did equalise, it was fair. I don't think we equalised against run of play.
I felt no, we didn't, but I felt like they kept us quiet. They did really well to keep us quiet for maybe the opening half an hour, 35 minutes,
Yeah, exactly.
and then the end of that half. Something just clicked, and we just were able to start opening them up.
Yeah, I think that made a big difference.
Yeah.
If you look at the average positions, I think it tells a story of. And if you go to this on lineups, you go your average, so you look where Maddison is there. What way is it showing? Downwards. Yeah. So you look where Maddison is. Look how far up the pitch he is in that first half. And obviously, that's how we play. I don't think it's a criticism of Maddison to say these things. It's just we're playing a 4-3-3. Maddison and Decky obviously very far up the pitch. And then you click on the top left, it says show substitutions. There's a tick. And so look where Sarr is.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, look how deep he dropped. All of a sudden in his own half next to Bissouma. So that made a big difference to just protecting the back line. You could see Sarr was a lot deeper. And I actually think it made us a bit more transitional. We actually had less possession in that second half. I think you see it by the stats.
Yeah.
First half, we had a lot more possession. Second half, a bit similar to Brentford, where we made it a bit more of a transitional game. We kind of invited West Ham onto us a bit more, knowing that we had Sarr there to win the ball back. And you could see what a difference made, because look at the space we had, especially for the third and fourth goal. Son and Kulusevski find themselves in all sorts of spaces. That's a consequence of us inviting West Ham onto us, but I think you can't take anything away from that second goal, because as much as the goals 3 and 4 were transitional, the second goal was all about patient build-up, and it was all about breaking West Ham down.
It was really
brilliant.
It was really funny for that second goal, because Jory sent in a super chat just before that second goal talking about Sonny being tugged out on the left-hand side on the touchline and saying this isn't his position, he's no good. And I was agreeing with him, because he needs to be cutting inside a bit more. But in that very moment, he gets on the outside, plays that lovely pass to Udogie, and then Udogie obviously cuts it back to Bissouma, and Bissouma, had that goal, and I think it was a slight deflection that kind of wrong-footed Areola, but it was just funny in that moment. He sent in that super chat, and then Son does that work on the outside.
To be fair, I thought Son was probably our most dangerous attacker on the first half. Anyway, so I don't think he was having a bad game in that first half, albeit maybe getting a bit frustrated. But I thought he set up a couple of chances. He had the effort, so I thought he was doing all right.
He was.
And then second half, obviously, he came into his own completely. That pass, by the way, for the goal to set up Udogie was absolutely phenomenal. The weight of pass, if you watch it in slow motion, the weight of pass curving around Udogie and gives him the option to either whip the ball across goal or cut back just like he did. And the reason why that's so important is because you see Wan-Bissaka's position. Because that pass is so perfect into that path of Udogie to allow him those 2 options, it leads to Wan-Bissaka kind of overcommitting to block the cross. Because he overcommits, it allows Udogie just to check back and assess his options for Bissouma running in. And also what it did was, because it looked like Udogie was going to whip the ball across the face of the goal, you see a lot of the West Ham midfielders get sucked in and try and get deeper to block the cross, and you see them, they get sucked in towards the goal, and it leaves that massive gap right on the edge of the area. And that all is because of that pass from Son, the weight of the pass and that spin in behind, just around Udogie. And because the weight of the pass was so beautiful from Sonny, it forced the West Ham midfield to all get sucked into the goal, and it meant that he could just check it back, look for that massive space where Bissouma was, just lay it into him, and obviously Bissouma strokes at home and wrong foots Areola. So I think that goal was completely made from, first of all, beautiful pass from Son. Obviously, the composure from Udogie. He's not obviously, he has a lot of work to do there, Udogie. he has a lot of work to pick out Bissouma and cut it back. So fair play to him. But I think that whole goal is pretty much a lot down to the beautiful weight of pass from Sonny.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And it wasn't the only time. He had his massive hand in 3 of the goals that we scored yesterday, Sonny. And when you're talking about how much we missed him over those 2 games where he was missing against Manchester United, against Brighton, he just showed everyone how much we missed him yesterday. I mean, the quality that he does have. Like I keep saying, you know, people like to write him off time and time and time again, and he responds every single time. He's our best player. He's the player that has the most quality and is our captain as well. So I can't wax lyrical about Sonny enough. I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday.
And in the game state, as soon as we take the lead, that's when Son is really at his best. That's his forte. As soon as there's space in the back line to exploit, he can exploit it night and day. And for the 3rd goal, brilliant outside of the boot pass to Kulusevski to set him off. And obviously, not only does he play that pass to Kulusevski, brilliant, play him in space, but he carries on his run. You can see that lung-burst run. Look how much ground he has to cover when he passes that ball to Decky to when he picks up the ball. Tireless running. Obviously, the finish probably wasn't the best, but got a bit of luck. But you earn your own luck. Probably through, you know, his pass and his running, earned his own luck with that moment. I think Areola will feel like he definitely should have done better with that one because, I mean, he saves it with his feet. I think if he goes with his hands, he catches it. So I thought it was really, really poor piece of play from Areola. And then obviously the 4th goal, brilliant piece of play from Sarr. In behind to Son, and in those positions, the problem the defender has in those positions is you don't know what way Son's going to go because he's so 2-footed. He can go either way, and you see he absolutely tied Todibo in an absolute knot. Todibo just didn't know what to do. He didn't know what way to go.
That 10 step overs in there.
I think it was 3 step overs, I think it was, or 4 step overs. And you see Todibo's going this way, that way. He just didn't know because either way Todibo commits, he knows Son could go the other way, and he's just as good on either foot. Obviously, he forced Sonny out wide, but on the outside, but it wasn't enough to stop him. And Todibo, I thought, as good as he was, I thought in the first half, which I thought he had a really strong first half, he was probably just as bad in the second half because I thought he got absolutely bullied from Solanke. He got twisted up in an absolute knot, sent for a dance by Son, and scored an own goal as well. So it wasn't a good day for him in the end.
Yeah, let's just show how dominant we actually were in the second half with these stats. I mean, as you can see, possession is a lot less. We had about 61% possession in the first half, 53%. We actually had a lower XG in the second half than we did in the first half, and we scored 3 goals. Only one big chance each, but we had 10 shots, they only had 6. And in terms of on target, we had 5 shots on target and they had 2. We hit the woodwork once as well. It just felt like we came out in that second half with a point to prove and just completely blitzed them. Within about 15-20 minutes of that second half, the game was over.
Yeah, it was that. It was just wave after wave, and they couldn't deal with it. And to be fair, last season, how many times did we see Spurs do that? A few times. It reminds me of the Brentford game last year where we came out second half. I think we made 1 sub as well, and I think within 15 minutes we were 3-1 up as well when we blitzed them. Spurs have the capability to do that, especially under this Ange team. And we're in full flight, and the momentum is with us. At some points, we look unstoppable. And that's the kind of how I felt about it yesterday. It's like we can hit them with so many facets. We can hit them with the transition with Son. We can hit with our pressing with Solanke, and we're pressing in packs. We hit them with a bit of patient build up with the second goal as well. And this is what Ange is trying to develop, isn't it? He's trying to develop this team that can kind of just have different modes of attack, and that's exactly what we showed yesterday.
We absolutely smashed them off the park. Let's be real. Like it's the first London derby we've won under Ange Postecoglou, which is nowhere near good enough. But now we've done it. Hopefully, we can stamp our authority on these games a bit more. 4-1 against West Ham when they are 1-0 up. On top of that, with Arsenal losing yesterday, it just literally made it the best day ever. Sonny back in action. I mean, if Carlsberg made days, you know what I mean? Literally, those were days we could live for.
And also, people criticising Ange for not making subs quicker, not being proactive. And yesterday
It was
wasn't
a
even...
masterclass. That change at half-time was a complete masterclass. And these are the things that Ange doesn't get, gets criticised for. He doesn't change the game enough. And it was right against Brighton. But every time, and Marlon said this on the fan show when he was talking about it when he came on yesterday, right? Every time when people criticise Ange for certain things, and he's like, oh, that's not a problem with the set pieces, with not changing things in game. He kind of proves everyone wrong without actually like saying he's going to do stuff in press conferences.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's there to say, like, I'm going to make this change.
You know what I mean?
Time.
Yeah.
He's just
But
gonna
people
do it.
take that, like when he says, oh, that doesn't matter. People take that as just like, oh, Ange doesn't care about this, Ange doesn't care about that, when actually he's making changes to improve us constantly.
But even yesterday, what was so impressive about yesterday was I don't think anyone would have criticised him for not making a change at half-time, because I think with the momentum we had...
I thought it was strange, to be honest.
Yeah, with the momentum we had in that first half, I think, especially Maddison, who actually, if you look at the stats, which we're going to later, but he had 5 chances created, which is actually more than anyone in the whole game. Even not just first half, no one had more key passes than Maddison throughout the whole game. And as well, he obviously had an assist for Kulusevski's goal. I thought he was playing quite well, and I don't think anyone was calling for. Like, it wasn't obvious to everyone that Maddison should have come off, and we should have brought Son. As much as yes, I think everyone acknowledged in the first half we had some defensive issues in dealing with Kudus. That's fair enough, but I don't think anyone would have thought at half time the way things were going, we needed to make a change. But Ange felt that way. Ange saw something that a lot of people didn't see. He made a proactive change and obviously shored things up, and we end up battering them 4-1, and could have been even more. So I think he deserves massive credit, and he shows that he's got an ability to be proactive and change it early on. And I think he's done that in other games, which he hasn't got as much credit for. How many times last season did he make a change at halftime and we end up winning the game? It happened a few times as well, like which people don't remember. So I think Ange is a guy who will change it. Obviously, against Brighton, for one reason or another, he decided not to, and maybe he's learned from that. But I think yesterday was brilliant management of the game yesterday from Ange.
I was so impressed yesterday with big Dom Solanke, and the more and more I see of this, the more and more I'm kind of falling in love with this guy. I think he is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, maybe you expect him... Like, what he's brought to this team is something is like the opposite of what I thought he was going to bring. I thought he was going to bring, like, predatory instincts, fox in the box, and he has done that on certain occasions. But the way he's dropping deep and the impact that he's making on this team, for that first goal, that pass is so underrated from Solanke. He wins the ball back and quickly just sets Maddison away. And in the second half, he was doing that so much, man. And he's so good on the ball. Like, when he's got the ball at his feet, he can just take it past people like it's no problem as well. I mean, I didn't know Solanke had this in his locker to the quality that he has it. I mean, this guy has fitted in this team like an absolute glove on the hand, man. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Such a great role for the team. I think yesterday was a real team performance from Solanke, because I don't think he had any shots, did he? I don't remember too many times he was in and around the penalty box. But what he was doing was making sure that when the ball came to him in the centre of the park, he was keeping it, making sure he's keeping away from the defender, making sure he's progressing the ball, getting it up the pitch. That little toe poke for the first goal, fantastic from him. In that second half, backing into Dodibo, making sure that a 50-50 ball becomes Solanke's ball, and he can just trap it, instead of maybe last season those kind of passes would have just come back at us because the defender was bullying our attacker, and that's not happening this season. And he's just such a handful. Defenders don't know what to do with him, and yeah, as you say, his dribbling ability is something that I knew he was good at, but not, as you say, not this good. And he seems to be able to get away from people a lot easier than I thought he was capable of. And because he's so strong, as soon as he gets ahead of you, you can't really get back round him, because he's got such amazing upper body strength, and he's such a big physical striker. And you either gives him an option, either you have to bring him down, or you basically allow him past you, and it's so difficult to deal with. And there was one moment that a bit frustrated me when he beats one player. He did actually really well on this whole move, but there was a moment where in the centre of the path he beat a player, and he's got Son literally through on goal, and for some reason he just delays, and ends up getting tackled. But what he did was he didn't mull over that incident. He got back up, tackled, I think it was Todibo, tackled him again, and then played Brendan Johnson through on goal instead, and obviously he nearly scored. So that was a really good moment from him, and I just thought the whole day they struggled to deal with him. They didn't know how. They couldn't get the ball off him. Man,
they could not. He was dragging players in all sorts of positions on that pitch for West Ham. He was the one that was creating the majority of gaps for us in that second half. It was an unbelievable display. And how could we not talk about Decky, man? Dejan Kulusevski was head and shoulders above anyone on that pitch, in my opinion, yesterday. I don't think he put a foot wrong for pretty much the whole game. From the first half, I thought he was our best player by far. Like the physical presence this guy has. I called him a ball retention wizard on the watch along yesterday. I mean, this guy put in a ball retention 101 for West Ham to look at yesterday. I mean, this guy is absolutely getting better and better and better every single game. And it's a testament to him that he's the one that stayed on the pitch and Maddison was the one to go off yesterday, because coming into the season, everyone would have said Maddison is the first midfielder, first attacking midfielder on the team sheet, and Kulusevski has come in and said, nah, I'm that guy now. And he gets the goal, maybe a bit fortuitous with that finish, but West Ham literally could not deal with him from minute 1 right until the end.
Yeah, he's so strong. As Ange keeps pointing out, he's got ridiculous running stamina. He's so strong with his ability when he runs at you. Yes, he's not the quickest, but because he's so strong, as soon as you get near him, he just bullies you off the ball and he gets past you. So I think Deki has been an absolute phenomenon this season, to be honest. And, you know, I said after the United game, I think he's becoming one of the best in the league in that position. And I think nothing since that game has changed my mind.
He's only got better since then.
He's been absolutely phenomenal. You can't get the ball off him. But what we know about Deki, which we saw when he first came, and maybe we haven't seen enough, is he does have unbelievable quality in that left foot. He's got a brilliant pass. He's got a brilliant ability to shoot a goal as well. And it's something that maybe we haven't seen enough of from him over the past year or so, because of whether it be the position he's playing or just things haven't been gone his way. But I think ever since he's got into this position, that's now, as you said, 2 goals in 3 games. He's unlucky as well not to register an assist, because that Son effort was given as an own goal in the end. But obviously he set up that chance for Sonny as well. But he's got such unbelievable physical qualities. You married that up with the quality he's got on the ball, and all of a sudden you've got a fearsome prospect there that a lot of teams don't want to face. And he's becoming unstoppable at the moment. No team has found a solution how to stop him. Even Arsenal struggled to contain him as well. I know they ended up getting a clean sheet on the day, but there was a lot of points where Kulusevski was getting in between the lines in that game as well. Every game he seems to be making an impact, and he seems to be absolutely loving that position. He just seems to be enjoying himself, getting involved in all different facets of the game. And I think the reason he took Maddison off instead of Deki is just because of that running power. He knows what Deki offers on the ball. And as much as Maddison isn't a slouch, he just doesn't have the physicality Deki offers. So when you've got that kind of physicality available, plus the quality he does, you need that on the pitch. You need that robustness. And you just can't get the ball off him. He is absolute a press-resistant machine. Every time anyone gets near him, they're getting part. He's holding them off, and it's a delight to watch. It's so exciting to watch as well. And I think the more he adds goal contribution to the game, to his game, the more people are going to recognise it. Because we even spoke to Nicky before the game, and he was saying, "Oh, I think Deki's been poor this season." It's like, what have you been watching? These people don't realise how good he is. I think only Spurs fans who are watching him regularly seem to know, because we're the only ones who are waxing lyrical about him, and he deserves his flowers because he's been absolutely undroppable, unstoppable this season. And it's mad to think about. I didn't even start the first game of the season. How did that even happen? Because we were saying in pre-season how amazing he's looking, like he needs to play, and he's proving that he's been our best player this season and first name in the team sheet at the moment.
100%, and he's just going from strength to strength. He's so physical as well. Just players just bounce off him, don't they? It's just unbelievable to see when you're at the game firsthand. Another player that was absolutely brilliant yesterday, Yves Bissouma. He put in a bit of a number 6 one-on-one as well. I thought every time he was in and around where the ball was, he just snapped at it and was putting in world-class challenges. There was a challenge in our own box as well, where it looked like West Ham were about to spring on us, and he was just there to grab the ball. He got his goal as well, which makes it 2 goals this season, where that he hadn't scored for 2 years before that. So it's
4 goals for club and country.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. And ever since that balloon thing, he's been top-notch. Spurs responded in the most perfect way, didn't they? Spurs responded in the most perfect way against after the Brighton thing, but Bissouma has responded in the most perfect way against after the balloon thing.
Yeah, and even though
And by the way, while I was struggling to speak there a little bit, Gvardiol just put one in the top corner for about 25 yards here.
Unbelievable. When it talked about Bissouma, Yes, I think Bentancur in his own right has been playing well this season. I don't think he's dropped because, or maybe he's dropped because he had a bad game against Brighton, but I think in his own right, he had some really top performances and where everyone was waxing lyrical, especially even Ange was after the games against Brentford and against Man United. But it's easy to forget that Bissouma himself, I don't think he's had a bad game. I think every game he's played really, really well. And he's come, as you say, he's come back. He played that Everton game, was fantastic. Only really came out of the team because I think picked up an injury on international duty, didn't he? So Bentancur came into the team and then he was playing well, so he had the shirt. But Bissouma's took his chance again. He's come back in the team yet again in this game, and I thought he was phenomenal. And
he's also playing with a smile on his face again as well.
Yeah, you can see that.
Which is great to see.
Confidence.
He's enjoying his football. Some of our players, like Dejan Kulusevski, like Yves Bissouma, like Brennan Johnson, who, look, I don't think Brennan had his best game yesterday, but these kind of players, they're playing with a smile on their face, they're playing with a swagger, and they're playing with confidence, and it's great to see.
Absolutely, and when we're this kind of form, we're imperious as well. We're a strong team. We're really, really hard to play against, and teams don't want to face us, I feel. And yesterday, West Ham were coming into it fairly confident after the back of a good 4-1 win against Ipswich, and things looking to start to turn for them. They got good players as well, but they just couldn't live with us. And this is what I was saying before the game. I just felt like if West Ham play in a similar style to how they have done it against the big teams, we can overwhelm them. And I think that's exactly what we did in that second half. We completely overwhelmed them. They couldn't live with us, with our quickness of play, with our direct style, which we played in the second half, and even when we were doing slow build-up play, they struggled to prevent us creating chances. And this is what I was saying about Ange as well, because yesterday was another occasion where we conceded a fairly easy goal, and a goal which on the face of it you can say is preventable or wasn't a great goal to look at from a defence point of view. But this is what I was saying. Beginning of the season, those goals I don't think are going to stop happening. I feel like we're always going to be conceding these kind of chances.
But again, like these kind of chances, you're talking about Destiny Udogie, and Destiny, I feel like in the last 2 games has been really poor at his one-on-one defending, and it was proved yesterday with his defending against Jarrod Bowen. But that's not what you kind of associate with Udogie. I think Udogie usually has been fairly good at one-on-one defending, so we shouldn't be conceding these kind of chances.
I mean, in a perfect world, no, but we're playing a system where we throw a lot of caution to the wind. We have a lot of players in the opposition half. We a high pressing system. So there are going to be occasions, especially when you're playing against the likes of Kudus and Bowen, and also when you play Brighton, Minter and Matoma, there are going to be occasions where you do get caught out. There are going to be occasions where they get the better of you because they got good players as well. I think the goal of our football is to minimise that to contain that to a minimum, is basically gaining our football, whether it be 1 or 2 times a game, and to create enough chances where you can literally score 4 or 5. And that's what we've been seeing recently. Yes, even against Brentford and against yesterday against West Ham, we did concede a couple of chances, but we conceded enough chances. So we created enough chances where we put ourselves in a position we can win that game 4-1. This is what I was saying when early in the season. Yes, if we concede a goal, that's going to happen. But if we win the game 4-1, no one's going to care. And like yesterday, no one cared that we conceded that goal because we won the game 4-1 because of how we play our football. And unfortunately, when against the likes of Newcastle and against the likes of Leicester, we didn't put those chances away, right? So everyone points at, oh, look at that goal we conceded, it's sloppy. But the real fact of the matter of those games was we didn't put the chances away and to win the game. And that will come, and I think we're starting to see that now.
I agree, and you know what though? People talk a lot about our defence and a lot about Arsenal's defence being the best in Europe and whatever, but they've only conceded 1 less goal than us this season, and I think, as of now, I think we're level with Man City with the most goals scored this season. So, I mean, that just shows you in itself how good we've actually been this season without getting maybe the results that we deserve, particularly in the Leicester and the Newcastle game. And if we did get the results that we deserved in those 2 games, we'd probably be sitting close to top of the league right now. 100%.
And it's just what we were saying as well at the beginning of the season when we were saying we are playing well. We're just not getting the results our performances deserve. And obviously, Brighton game was a different problem. It wasn't about us not playing well. It was about us, thinking the game was won. It's because it was kind of playing too well in a way because we thought the game was won in that first half, and we completely got complacent in the second half, and we allowed Brighton back into the game. And hopefully that's the last time we see that this season. But what has been brilliant is, this is what I was saying to you. So funnily enough, I said this to you at halftime of Brighton, and then they completely proved me wrong. But I was saying to you, I was saying this to you at halftime Brighton. You kind of know what you're getting now with Tottenham. We can see a very consistent level of performance. And yes, you know, we got defensive deficiencies, and that needs to be improved and whatnot. But what I've been seeing pretty much in every game this season is a very consistent level of performance where we you know what Tottenham are turning up, you know what we're going to do. And some people say, oh, is that a bad thing because people know he's going to set up? But actually, I think it's a really positive thing, because this team have really grabbed this identity. They really know, they're really starting to take shape and how we want to play. They're really understanding what Ange wants from them. And I think that's leading to what we're seeing this season is a very consistent level of performance. The football is improving. And we're starting to get more and more goals now. I saw a stat. I mean, I didn't see a stat. I came up with a stat, but I saw it. I worked it out. Last season, we scored 3+ goals on only 9 occasions last season, over a 38-game period.
3 occasions. What was that?
No. 9 occasions we scored 3+ goals last season. We've already done it on 4 occasions this season after 8 games. So that shows that this attack is really starting to click now, 100%. And we're really starting to put those chances away. Whereas last season, I mean, 9 occasions isn't a terrible total, but it's not enough to where we want to be.
And that's because of the inclusion of Dom Solanke, how easily he's fitted in, getting Decky in the middle of the park as well, which is like Decky and Dom Solanke have been revelations for us this season. And I think those two are key factors in why we've been so good.
Yeah, and this is my point being is, yes, we'll concede a sloppy goal now and again, or we'll concede a good chance. That will happen. But as long as we're creating the level of chances we are currently creating, we're going to win way more games than we don't win. And that's exactly what I loved, what I want to see. And if we're winning every game 4-1, or we're scoring 4 goals a game, I don't care if we concede the odd goal, because that's what the consequence of our football is the way we're attacking. And I know it's sometimes hard to see our defence get cut open on occasion, and people don't like to see that. But as long as we're creating the level of chances we are currently creating at this current moment in time, I don't care if we're conceding those chances, because the football is the wins are going to be there, and I'm going to love watching us play.
Let's be real, Man City are conceding every week at the moment. They get cut open as well, and we've seen that with Pep Guardiola teams year after year. Maybe they went through like a year or two where they shored it up defensively massively, but they play a system where, you know, they can get counter-attacked upon, and this is just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's what a lot of fans, I think, were being overly critical of Ange.
But that's because we weren't getting the goals.
Correct, and you know, the whole narrative was, with the forward line that we have, are they going to let Ange down this season, and is it going to cost him his job? Well, at the moment, they seem to have turned it around, and
they have seemed to have turned it around, but there are bigger tests to come than West Ham. We need to show this performance against a top 6 team, in my opinion. I know we did it against Aston Villa at the back end of last season, but we got them coming up against soon. So I really want to see us stamp our authority in that game.
Of course, every game we want to see it. We want to see it continue, but I'm just saying, for as much as you can criticise the players for a moment in time at the beginning of the season for not putting them in chances, you've got to give them a praise for putting them away at this moment in time. Absolutely.
It's a joy to behold when we're scoring goals like that and putting West Ham away like we did, because in the combined 11, you know, everything that we were arguing against pretty much came to fore in this single 90 minutes game of football. Nicky was like, Kulusevski's been rubbish. Well, Kulushevski was the best player on the pitch and you couldn't handle him. Emerson Palmieri against Udogie. I think Udogie made that mistake in the opening stage of the game, but I think he grew from that and he went from strength to strength. I think he was much better than Emerson throughout that 90 minutes period of play. So, look, Spurs were brilliant yesterday. There's no question about it. So let's just kick on from here.
Definitely. And I predicted 4-1.
Yeah, unbelievable prediction, to be fair. Unbelievable.
4-1. That was your reaction when I said it.
Unbelievable. Maybe I should be shocked at your predictions a bit more.
To be fair, I've actually got quite a few right this season. I predicted Coventry, spot on. Carabag, spot on. I think Ferencváros, spot on. And now this one's spot on.
You should be putting money on it.
I should, I know. Absolutely. God, well, I won 20 quid off Josh King. So that's the main thing.
Josh King was firmly in the mud after this weekend. Fine.
I bet Josh King 20 quid will win on the weekend. He bet me 20 quid will lose, sorry. And I said 100% I'm taking that money. Easy money. He just needs to pay me now.
It's like taking candy from a baby.
All right, so I guess we'll get a few comments before player ratings?
Yeah, there's a few super chats here.
Oh, let's look at expressions. He's putting expressions is in the chat, people.
Big up expressions. He called in as well yesterday on the watch long, which was absolute scenes.
That Son goal was his bread and butter. Step over Cook. The defending and keeper had no chance. Oozing. I think he's absolutely right. Sonny, he looked so fresh yesterday, didn't he? I guess we'll get into individuals, but it was so great to see him. Like, I felt like before that injury, you could see he was carrying something. He was struggling with sharpness, but he just looked so sharp yesterday. He looked like when I saw it was that shot he took in the first half where he just did a step over, cut inside, and he sent Wan-Bissaka the other way.
The one that curled just past the post.
I was like, okay, he's looking sharp today when he did that, because I think he was struggling to do those kind of things before. So, but I think this 2-week break, I think hopefully we're going to see a new Son again.
I think I literally said on the watch along at that moment, I was like, yes, Sonny is back.
and I think as well. Again, yesterday was evidence. We are definitely starting to see the wingers getting to more goal-scoring positions, because I felt like at the beginning of the season they were stuck very wide and maybe not getting those positions a bit. And I thought maybe that's what Ange wants, just to make the pitch wider. But we're definitely seeing the wingers being. It
was a nice little
positions.
Hybrid yesterday of the both, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. They're definitely getting to more forward positions, which is really, really good to see.
The next one is from the Jorical. I'm not sure what's going on with the screen at the moment.
No, it's not on live.
I can't.
It's here.
Ever since I gave Decky a few notes on running in the Telia ad shoot we did together in Torino, he has been on the ascendancy. Also, back post fix, please. Yeah, I do think we need a back post fix. It does look a bit open for us, but so Jory's behind the Decky renaissance.
I think we all are. So we got Jockey to thank. Well done, the Jorical. But yeah, Decky's just been phenomenal in this new position. He's so exciting. He's like, he can go. I love it because he can just go any direction. You feel like when he was out wide, you knew he was going to do. He just had to go inside because he wants to get involved in the play. But when he's in that inside channel, he's like he's got a 360 thing on his head, because he can just go in any direction, and that's what makes him so press resistant as well. And I'm just loving his new position. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, and Dark Sun G says, come on you Spurs, happy to see the Gooners lose Saliba and lose 2-0, laughing my arse off.
Love it. Absolutely love it, Dark
William Saliba. I mean, they just blame, every time they lose, they blame it on refereeing decisions.
How about you don't bring down a guy when he's through on goal? How about that?
You know what it is as well? It's like, the referees hate us. The referees hate us. No, the referees don't hate you. Don't throw away the ball and kick the ball away when you're on a yellow card, and don't take down a bloody attacker when he's the last man like that.
Absolutely.
Like, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
They're blaming the wrong person. They should look inward. They're the master of the dark arts, but they can't. But
backfired.
As soon as they actually get punished for their actions rightfully, they start crying. And I'm sure Arteta was crying after the game yesterday.
He was. He definitely was. He said in his post-match interview, "Oh yes, another game where we have a man sent off and we finished the game with 10 men."
It's only your own fault.
It's like, what an idiot, man. I hate this guy so much. I really do. Are we ready? Yeah. All right, let's go into player ratings. And I'm sure this is going to be a good one today. Starting off with Big Vic, 7s all round from us. He made a big save, didn't he, from Mohamed Kudus, which was like a bit of a sign for things to come with the goal that he did score. I don't think he could have done much with the goal that we conceded. And apart from that, he was fairly untested.
Yeah, I think he gets an extra point because he got a cap in the second half. And I think that was the right decision, because actually just before that moment, you could see it. It was right in his eyes. And there was the moment where they had a shot clear off the line. I actually think he kind of flapped it a bit, because I'm assuming it must have been because the sun was in his eyes, because the cross came in. I think we cut it out, and then it kind of looped up, and I was like, is he going to catch this? And he just like completely misses it. I think he just must have lost the sight of the ball in the sun, because he just didn't know where the ball was, and it led to West Ham putting the ball across the face of goal and ended up being cleared off the line by Udogie, thankfully. So got a cap on, and those issues stopped. So fair play to Vicario.
Pedro Porro, 7s all round for Pedro. And yeah, I think he had a fairly good game. I mean, he was threatening massively to score in that first half. That chance where he took that volley, where it was like, he was really high up in the air and just banged it. And I thought it was going in, but it just went just over the bar. He had a couple of shots yesterday, which I thought he might have scored from one of them. But look, defensively, I thought for the most part he was actually pretty good, but he did come under pressure a little bit. He's been accused of not being on Mohamed Kudus Kudus at the back post. He was on the line and blocking Souček as well. So, yeah, it's a hard one to judge, but I think Porro was pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, I think on the ball, obviously, we know what he brings, and he was so brilliant yesterday. Yet again, 2 key passes, obviously 2 shots on target.
Bring up the phone.
Forced Areola into that save in the first. It was a brilliant save from Areola from Porro as well. But I did think for the goal, I don't think at the moment where the cross comes in, it's his fault, because I think he has Souček. But I do think in the build-up to it, there's a long ball from Todibo towards Kudus. And Porro's favourite for the ball, but he just allows himself to get bullied a bit from Mohamed Kudus. And I think he did struggle a bit to deal with Kudus in that first half. But
everyone did, didn't they?
Yeah, true. But I think I don't think the goal was his fault. Maybe the chance which Vicario saved he could have done better with. But I think the goal, actually, he had Souček. But after that, he was absolutely fantastic and unlucky not to be on the score sheet. Created a few chances as well, so I think he actually had a really strong showing in the end, and another good game from Porro.
Yeah, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, 2 key passes, 1 shot on target, 2 off target, and 1 shot blocked. And 3 out of his 7 duels won, 1 out of his 1 aerial duels. I was happy with Pedro yesterday. Let's move on. Who do we have next? Romero, Romero. Again, I thought Romero put in a great display. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I thought he was pretty dominant in that back line. He battered away everything that came into his path, to be honest. I felt like in the second half he was hardly tested, to be honest. And I was really liking his on-the-ball ability as well yesterday. So good display from Romero.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. His passing was just phenomenal yet again. I thought he completely dominated Antonio, to be honest. I think Antonio had pretty much nothing. And considering what a physical threat he can be, it's not that easy to do. And I thought he dealt with him very, very comfortably. I think his passing in between the lines yet again is just so sensational. And he put a brilliant ball over the top to Sonny in that first half, right at the end of the first half. And Sonny should have been... Sonny should have been on should have probably found someone on the end of it. So fantastic play from Romero. I thought he was slightly better of the 2 centre backs, so I gave him an 8. I thought he was just fantastic.
Yeah, and his stats read expected assist actually 0.13, 2 clearances, 4 tackles. 1 out of his 1 cross is accurate, 4 out of his 9 long balls accurate, 4 out of 5 ground duels, 4 out of 4 aerial duels as well, which was a heavily dominant display from Romero, which we move on to Mickey van der Ven, and Mickey was 7s all round. I did feel like he struggled a little bit in the first half with the goals that we did, with the goal that we conceded, and a few chances that West Ham were making, but I think he grew into the game, made a few really important challenges as well, and I think he was just part of a defence that were really untested really in the second half.
Yeah, I felt Bowen was really getting the better of him, I felt, at times in that first half when he was coming into wide areas. I thought he struggled to deal with him. Him and Udogie didn't really deal with that right. And I also thought there was one moment in the second half where he came over to kind of put a challenge in. He took a wild swipe, and I don't know if it was Kudus just gets ahead of him, and that could have been a really bad, big opportunity. But thankfully we got our defence back in place. But I think by and large he was pretty solid. I think by and large they couldn't really get past him. Obviously Antonio had nothing, and I thought Bowen was very, very quiet in the second half, so he has to be credited for that. So I thought I gave him a 7.
And his stats read 4 clearances, 2 block shots, 1 interception, 2 tackles, 2 out of his 4 aerial duels, long balls were accurate. 91% passing accuracy, 3 out of 7 ground duels, 1 as well. So didn't win an aerial duel though, 0 out of 3. But I was pretty happy with Mickey, apart from a few little mishaps in the first half. Next up, we're going to talk about Destiny Udogie. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Poor defending, to be honest, from the goal that we did concede. I thought that Bowen kind of got the better of him in a one-on-one situation, which carries on the kind of theme from the Brighton game, which is he needs to get better at. But I thought after that, he just went from strength to strength in the game. He was contributing to our attack, got a brilliant assist for Bissouma's goal as well. So I thought Udogie in the second half was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think he really recovered from what was, I wouldn't say a poor first half, but definitely a first half where defensive got caught out and Bowen was giving him all sorts of trouble. But, another day he could have had an assist in that first half as well. Brilliant ball to probably should have put it away. So I think offensively was still, providing a threat. But obviously defensively, Bowen for those 2 chances really got the better of him, and he's got to be wary of that because, as you say, Minter did the same thing. So not the best couple of weeks defensively for Destiny Udogie, but second half, brilliant assist. I thought so much composure. So much composure to pick up Bissouma for that moment, and I thought defensively again, Bowen barely had anything. So fair play to him.
Yeah, and if you look at that heat map, it shows you that he was on the outside more than he was actually on the inside in terms of inverting as a fullback. Which was good to see. He got an assist on the day, 0.51 for the expected assists, 1 clearance off the line as well, which we didn't talk about, 1 block shot, 1 interception, 2 tackles, 3 key passes on the day for Destiny, which is big numbers. 2 out of his 3 crosses were accurate, 1 out of his 1 long ball, 1 big chance created, 5 out of his 11 ground duels, and 1 out of his 2 aerial duels, 1 as well. So, a dominant display from Destiny Udogie out on their left-hand side.
Yeah, and it wasn't a penalty for the handball. And I saw Nicky after the game, Nicky Hawkins, saying he thought it was a penalty.
Really?
Yeah, I was watching his reaction.
He must have been just salty at the end of the game.
Yeah, he must have, because it's just not a penalty. He has his hand, like here, it's literally as tucked in as it could be. And it would have hit his chest if it didn't hit his hand, so it's not a penalty.
I said on the watch long, if this is given a penalty, it's the biggest disgrace in football.
Yeah.
It was never a penalty. Bissouma, next. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him an 9. And this was, I reckon this could have been his best Spurs shirt.
Really?
I reckon it was that good. I mean, obviously he had very good games in the first 10 games of last year, but I think maybe not his best in the Spurs shirt, but definitely back to those levels that he showed in the first 10 games of the season. I thought he was brilliant. The amount of times he was winning the ball back, there was 1 key moment in our own box where he won the ball back, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, and obviously got on the score sheet as well, which makes it 2 goals for him this season. So I think now Bissouma's had that performance. I think it's better than any display that Bentancur's put in this season, so he's got the shirt.
Yeah, I probably agree with that, although Bentancur's played some really strong performances. But Bissouma, when Bissouma's at his best, when he's playing at this level, he's one of the best DMs in the league. And he's absolutely phenomenal. And it's all about consistency with Bissouma, and I think he's showing that level of consistency so far this season. I think I don't think he's had a bad game. I thought this one was probably the best of the lot, and he's starting to get on the score sheet. I said when we signed him, he's a player I could see probably getting into a bit more goal-scoring positions and making a bit more of an effect in the final third. He could have had an assist as well because he played a nice pass to Son, who had that shot which went just wide. So he's getting a bit more involved when he can in the final third, when he feels he can feels the moment to get involved. But he's getting more disciplined, and that's very, very important for a player like him, because if he can add that to his game, he's got a very high ceiling, and I thought he was absolutely phenomenal yesterday.
Yeah, and if we bring up his stats, just look at that heat map. He was absolutely everywhere on that pitch yesterday. Yves Bissouma, 1 goal, 60 touches, 93% pass accuracy, 1 key pass as well, a shot on target, 7 of his 12 ground duels, 1, 4 clearances and 5 tackles as well. So a monstrous display from Yves Bissouma, affecting things at both ends of the pitch. So brilliant there from Yves Bissouma. Next up, we're going to talk about James Maddison, 7s all round for Madders. Did only last 45 minutes, who got taken off at half time. And I thought Maddison was playing well, to be honest, in the first half. I thought he was he was dropping deep a little bit and knitting the play together. He was working really well with Kulusevski, like he always does. Driving run for that brilliant assist for Decky as well. So I was actually really surprised he got taken off at half time, but obviously ended up to be the right decision.
Yeah, I think, I don't think it should be. I saw Maddison, when he'd been taken off, he looked a bit unhappy about it, which I can understand because he was playing well. I don't think it's Maddison did anything wrong per se. I just think what the game required was that bit more protection, and obviously Sarr was the player to do that. So I don't think Maddison should take this like as a personal slight, or I don't think this is going to be him out of the team now or anything like that. I still think he probably starts with Decky next game, but I think I thought first half, he had 5 chances created, which is more than anyone else on the pitch throughout the whole game, let alone just the first half. So that shows what he was providing. But unfortunately, it was down that side where he is on the left-hand side-ish, where we were struggling to contain West Ham a lot, and they were getting a lot of joy. And just bringing Pape, bring him a bit deeper, bring that running energy and that protection, just allowed us a bit more of a solid base to go on and win the game. So Ange did really well to make the sub. It was a sub that no one saw coming, and I understand why Maddison will be a bit frustrated about it, but it was the right decision. And I think look, if Maddison keeps playing like that, he got an assist as well in that first half. I don't think he's going to have any problems, but yeah, it's just a shame for him he had to be taken off. But, you know, sometimes it's not about whether you're playing well, it's about what the game needs, and that was what was about yesterday.
Yeah, and here's his stats. I mean, he made 5 key passes in the game, which is unbelievable for James Maddison. Can you bring up the stats? 5 key passes for James Maddison. 2 out of his 7 crosses were accurate. 5 out of 2 ground duels, 1 dribble attempts, 1 out of 3, and he made 1 interception as well. So, and he drew 1 foul as well. So I thought Maddison was playing really well first half.
I guess one criticism, which I think a few of the commenters are probably rightly saying, is his corners were pretty bad.
Oh, they were dreadful.
Yeah, so that's one thing you can probably rightly criticise.
We're getting so frustrated here in the studio during the watch along these corners. We kept getting corner after corner after corner after corner. We did nothing with any of them.
Yeah, we kept overhitting them and either going to Areola or just going over everyone's head, and it was just not great, not good enough.
And also, as soon as Maddison went off and Son took the first corner in the second half, that corner was actually a really good ball in, and it took for like 13 corners to get a good delivery in, which was madness. Let's move on to Decky. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him a big fat 10. I thought he was unplayable yesterday, Dejan Kulusevski. In the first half, he started off, he drew 2 fouls really early on, which was a sign of things to come. West Ham found it really hard to deal with him. I called it a ball retention. I called him a ball retention wizard yesterday. They just could not handle him. They could not get the ball off him. He's too strong and even too quick in his mind for any of those West Ham players. He drove us up the pitch. He got his goal as well, which is what I've said about Decky as well. Like, he's so good on the ball, but he needs to be adding those goal contributions a bit more regularly than he does, because he's got that quality to do so. And now 2 goals in his last 3 games. He is starting to do that. But I was just so impressed with Decky yesterday.
Yeah, he's carrying on what has been a phenomenal season for him, and he seems to be getting better and better. I think that goal is so important that he scored as well, because just before half-time, the whole stadium was a bit tetchy, there was a bit of tense atmosphere around the place. We knew that West Ham, you know, on their day can be a good defensive team. We just needed that little bit of magic to break the deadlock, and that's exactly what he provided. Yeah, a bit of luck because Areola gets a big hand to it, but it's still a good strike. He still does really well to get into position to get the shot on goal. But it's not just that; it's just his all-round game is just so brilliant to watch, isn't it? And his ability to retain the ball in tight spaces, his ability off the ball to get close to the opposition and put in challenges and make tackles. As you see on his stats, 8 of his he competed for 16 ground duels, winning 8 of them. So it's the volume of ground duels he competes for. It's usually it's that similar number every game, and that's what he's capable of. He gets himself about the pitch, and I think this is the reason why Ange trusts him now in central midfield. It's not necessarily what he's doing on the ball, which is he's doing great things, but off the ball he also mucks in for the team. He also so strong. He also competes for so many duels, 3 tackles as well. You know, these are the fundamentals that allows him, first of all, to fit right into the pressing structure, but allows Ange to trust him in the central midfield to do those defensive duties. And when you marry that with the obvious unbelievable quality he's got on the ball, with his press resistance and his ability with his left foot to pick out passes and get and score goals, I mean, this is a phenomenal midfielder now we're talking about, I feel. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. And he is just going from strength to strength to strength. And I reckon come the end of the season, I think the rest of the Premier League's fans are going to start to realise how good Dejan Kulusevski actually is, because he's actually been a bit of a figure of fun for opposition fans, saying how bad he is and stuff like that, which I've never believed he's a bad player. I've always believed he's been playing in the wrong position, and I think it's proving it this season. 2 key passes for him, 2 shots blocked, 1 on target, 1 off target, 8 of his 16 ground duels won, drew 3 fouls on the day and tackled 3 times as well. Monstrous display from Dejan Kulusevski. Next up is Brennan Johnson. 7s all round for Brennan. And yeah, it wasn't wasn't his best display, to be honest. He had the chance to break a record, didn't he? It would have been 8 goals in 8 for club and country, but it would have been a record for Spurs, which would have been 7 goals in his last 7 games, 7 consecutive games. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that. He did have the chance to do that. I mean, he took a number of shots throughout the game. I think he had 4 or 5 shots, and but I just didn't feel like he looked as threatening as maybe as our other attacking players.
Probably not. I think Son and Solanke probably were providing a bit more for the team, but you just see that early shot he had from the angle. That was actually not even far away. It was like a volley from like the tightest angle. Would have been one of the best goals of the season if he scored it. And the confidence just to take it on, you can see it's flowing through him. Obviously, he had a couple of chances as well. He had that header from an Udogie cross, which I think they gave a corner for, so I'm sure it must have been deflected off a defender. But he'll be a bit disappointed he couldn't turn that home. And obviously, he had a chance when Solanke slips him through and forced a good save out of Areola as well. That would have been a good finish as well. So he was still threatening. He was still getting in those chances. Unfortunately, he couldn't put it away. And then I think Ange, actually, after the game, said he felt like it was his best performance of the season because of the defensive work he put in, helping out Porro in that second half. And I think he did do that a lot. So credit to him for putting in the hard yards, and I still think he was threatening. So really, really good.
In his stats, 1 shot off target, 3 shot off targets, 1 block shot, 0 dribble attempt, 0 successful dribbles out of attempts, though 1 big chance missed, 2 key passes, 3 out of his 10 ground duels, 2 out of his 2 aerial duels, and he drew 2 fouls as well. So good underrated display from Brennan Johnson. Let's move on to big Dom Solanke. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. And without providing goal contribution in a game where we scored 4 goals, which you probably expect better from Dom in that aspect, I think from every other aspect he was unbelievable, even unplayable at times. The contribution that he had to the first goal, I think, is so underrated. The way he wins the ball back and quickly just passes it to James Maddison, where James Maddison just had acres of space to run into. And in the second half, the way he was just dropping deep, winning the ball back, his dribbling ability. I mean, every time he had the ball and you thought he had no right to take it past his player, that's it, see you later, I'm gone. I just love that from Dom Solanke, and he was an important factor for the way we were just so dominant in that second half. I mean, he's built like an ox, this guy. It's really hard to get the ball off him, and I just didn't know that about him before he came to Spurs.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's really added a different dimension to this attack, and he's allowed Tottenham to get up the pitch and hold the ball up, and he's so strong. He backs into defenders and he keeps the ball for you, and his little flicks are brilliant. I thought his dribbling was absolutely fantastic yesterday. I thought his ability to retain the ball in tight spaces and use his quick feet is a very underrated skill of his, and I thought absolutely fantastic from Dom Solanke to pull that off, especially in the second half. I thought we saw a lot of it. First half, obviously, for the goal was a brilliant piece of play from him as well. I felt like a couple of moments he'll be a bit annoyed with himself with. There was a couple of moments he could have slipped in Sonny, and he decided to just delay the ball for one reason or another, and I don't know why he ended up dawdling on it. I don't know if he just didn't see Son or he felt like he can go by himself. And also, I think it was one of those displays which I don't think it's a bad thing per se, but he actually wasn't that involved in the game, because I think he must have, I think, one of the least passes on the pitch or least touches, but it's nothing to be worried about, because I think Haaland has those games, doesn't he, where he's just not as involved, and he has those games where he has few touches, but he doesn't need so many touches because what he provides for the team is something different. I think Solanke can do that role for us as well. He draws a lot of attention himself when he drops deeper, allows a lot of space for a lot of the other attackers, and there's no surprise for me that as soon as Solanke's come on the pitch, we've seen a lot better wingers as well. The wingers have really upped their game, and also the attacking midfielders. So I think he's doing such a great role for the team. Unfortunately, he didn't get many goal scoring positions yesterday, but look, that'll come. But I thought yesterday he did an unbelievable job for the team, and he had a really strong showing. Yeah,
so he only had 1 shot yesterday, which was off target. 2 out of his 7 dribble attempts were successful. Can you bring up the stats on the screen? 2 out of his 7 dribble attempts were successful. 1 key pass on the day. 4 out of his 13 ground duels, 1 out of his 2 aerial duels, 1. And he made 2 tackles as well and 1 clearance. So
I think yesterday was kind of the kind of game where stats don't really tell the story of
I agree.
Well he did.
I agree. And the last of the starting 11 is our captain, Son Heung-min. 9s all round for Sonny, and I thought Sonny was brilliant yesterday. Even in the first half, he was getting in positions, taking shots on the lovely curling effort that kind of went round everyone and just went round the post. And when he's getting in those positions, you just know Son is just so dangerous and he's going to end up with something on the day. And I thought he was a bit relentless out on that left-hand side. He was coming inside. He was doing great work on the outside as well. And obviously great work from the outside culminated in Bissouma's goal, which was a lovely pass to Udogie, and Udogie obviously played it back to Bissouma when Bissouma did the rest. But he had his hand in 3 goals that we scored yesterday. The one for the own goal, it was his shot that forced the own goal, and obviously his great work from Pape Matasar's through ball, where he absolutely just tore Todibo a new one, and he smashed it into the bottom corner of the net. So brilliant display from Sonny.
Yeah, I think he was looking back to his best and he was looking as fresh as ever, because I think the 2-week break has really done him good. Because you looked at him yesterday, he was looking so sharp. He was looking like he was taking people on. He was looking extremely effective in the final third as well. Some of his passes were absolutely to die for. The outside of the boot pass for Udogie was absolutely brilliantly weighted in, created the opportunity for us to get the goal. Brilliant outside of the boot pass again out wide to Kulusevski for the second goal, for the third goal as well. Brilliant work to tie Todibo in an absolute knot for the 4th goal. The way he just kept Todibo guessing. Todibo didn't know what way he was going to go, and because Son is so 2-footed, he can go either way and be just as effective. And I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But I just thought in general he looked so much sharper. He looked so much more on it yesterday. And when he's in that kind of mood, he's so hard to stop. And I thought West Ham just couldn't deal with him when he's in that transitional threat, like he was in the second half. I think West Ham just couldn't live with giving him all that space, and he knows that he's a player who knows what to do with space. But I even thought in the first half he was unlucky on a couple of occasions not to get a goal contribution with a shot which cold past the post from the Sonny zone, as you call it, on that left-hand side of the penalty area, and also right at the end of the half where he gets beyond the West Ham back line, has a cutback, and no one was there to tap home the empty net. So I thought he could have had more goal contributions if it wasn't for probably his teammates, but I thought and also hit the post, which to be honest, watching back, he should have scored that, because Areola had given up. All he had to do was roll it into the goal and hit the inside of the post. But so great to have him back, and he looks like he's refreshed after this break. Yeah,
and what we were saying about Sonny is we need to get Sonny taking more shots on goal, and we definitely got that yesterday. It was 2 shots on target, 2 off target. Can you bring the stats up on screen? 2 on target, 2 off target, 1 shot blocked, and 1 time he hit the woodwork. 1 big missed chance, 2 key passes on the day as well. So yeah, a really dominant display from Sonny, and he gets a goal, and he could have had an assist as well well, he could have had a few assists yesterday, let's be real, if we put the ball in the back of the net. So big up to Heung-min Son. Let's move over to the substitutes. Let's go to Pape Matasar. 8s all round from Pape, and he just gave us exactly what we needed in that second half. He gave us more legs in the middle of the field. He was tirelessly running for the team, and he showed quality on the ball as well, which we've criticised him for in the past. That pass for Sonny's goal was unbelievable.
Yeah. Defence splitting pass, and just allowed Spurs to wrap up the game. I thought he made such a big difference when he came on. Just his ability to get around the pitch, his ability to win duels, and all of a sudden, when West Ham were getting a bit of joy in the centre, you just had Pape coming in and making sure he's winning the ball back, and that's exactly what he did for the 4th goal. Not only did he play a brilliant defence splitting pass, but he won the ball back and got Spurs started on that attack through his own ability off the ball. So I thought it was a brilliant change from Ange. I thought he came on, and as you say, on and off the ball was fantastic, really provided for the team, and it just made sure that West Ham were keeping him quiet for that second half, and I thought he did a brilliant job.
Yeah, and his stats read 1 assist on the day, 45 minutes played, 1 key pass. Can you bring it up? 1 key pass, was fouled twice, and 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 2 tackles as well. So I think, and as well, plays into a narrative is what we've been saying, that Pape is really growing into this season now.
To 100% passing accuracy. Didn't misplace a pass.
Unbelievable. And what's that? 3 goal contributions this season? Maybe even 4. Yeah. No, it's 4, because he got an assist at Man United as well.
Got an assist at Man United,
2 goals in the Europa League, yeah. and an assist here. So 2 assists in his last 3 Premier League games. Unbelievable from Pape. Let's finish off talking about big Ange Postecoglou. 9s all round for big Ange. And I thought he managed this game to perfection. You know, he came under a lot of criticism at Brighton for the way he managed that game. And he's responded to those critics playing this game to perfection, to be honest. I thought we were on top in the first half. We were definitely on top in the first half, but he saw what others didn't see, and that was that we needed a lot more legs in that midfield. He took James Maddison off, who was having a fairly good game, and he brought Sarr on, and I really reckon that was the change to really swing that game properly in our way, and it really did change the momentum. We swiped them away, we blew them away in the opening stages of that second half, and what can I say? He managed the game to absolute perfection.
Yeah, I think he's really getting this team purring at the moment with the amount of goals we're scoring and taking these teams to the sword. And yeah, I think he managed the game amazingly yesterday, because the way he was able to change things up at halftime, even though a lot of people probably wouldn't have changed it or wouldn't have brought Maddison off. I thought it was a fantastic decision to change Maddison and bring Pape on, and he saw something a lot of people didn't see in terms of what we needed in that midfield, and to go and win the game, what was required. And I think he did that to perfection, and fair play to him, because last game against Brighton, he was criticised for not changing it early, and this time not only did he change it early, it was a proactive change. It was a change ahead of what other people were seeing, even though in a moment where we had the momentum going to half time, he still changed it. So fair play to him. Well done to Ange. I thought he managed the game brilliant. I thought we played brilliant football as well, which his coaching has brought. So fantastic from Ange.
All right, and let's go to a few comments, I guess. Big up to Brian Daigle and Phil P in the house as well.
Super chat here from Dark Sun G.
Go on then.
It's not a coincidence that Gooners lost to Bournemouth without Saka, Odegaard and Saliba. The Gooners got what they deserved. Hopefully they crumble now. 3 red cards in 8 games. The old Gooners are returning. That's what Dark Sanji is on the case here. He is on it. The Gooner slander is there.
Yeah, and very rightly so, because I thought they were shocking yesterday, even before the red card.
Yeah, I didn't think they did particularly.
And to be honest, I think this result's been coming for Arsenal. I really believe that. I don't think they've been good all season. Maybe in the odd game here or there, but on a consistent basis, they've really not been good this season.
No, they've
been getting away with it.
Ray has been bailing them out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot this season.
Yeah. As JR says, Arsenal are in the mud.
Enjoy while it lasts.
And you know what? Liverpool next up with no Saliba, no Odegaard.
Well, the next 3 is Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea.
Yeah. Let's hope Saka's out for next game. And then, look, they're not... Surely they can't beat Liverpool with no Saka, Odegaard and Saliba.
No, I wouldn't say never with anything at the moment.
But anyway, let's move on to the 5 takeaways where we see how what 5 things we can take away from the game. And number 1 is Ange's change.
Yeah, and for all the talk of Ange not being a proactive manager, for Ange, only having one way of playing or doesn't change things up, I think he definitely proved a lot of people wrong yesterday with a halftime sub, which a lot of people didn't see coming. A lot of people probably didn't think was needed, even with the momentum we had going into halftime, having just equalised. And I think Ange changed it up, brought Pape Matarsaran on, brought a bit of solidity in that midfield, made it a double pivot with Bissouma, added that protection, just stopping Bowen and Kudus getting the joy they were in the second half. And it led to Spurs completely running riot in that second half. And Ange deserves a lot of credit for making that sub, because it's a change which a lot of people wouldn't have made. And I think a lot of people don't realise that Ange does change things up. He does see things that other people don't see, and doesn't get the credit for it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, and not bad for a manager that doesn't change anything ever, and he just has one way of playing and one plan, and that's it. Well, he showed yesterday that he's got multiple things that he can do on that pitch. So brilliant stuff from Ange Postecoglou. Number 2 is Sonny back with a bang.
Yeah, and what a performance it was from Son, back from his injury, back after the international break, and back in the goals as well. Unlucky probably not to have more goal contributions under his belt, with a few chances created which should have been put away. And as well, the third goal obviously goes down as an own goal, even though Son was the one who tipped the shot, but got his goal, got the goal his performance deserved with the fourth goal. Brilliant involvement in the build up to the second and third goals as well, with brilliant outside the boot passes. And that's something as well which we pointed out, didn't we? His outside of the boot passes. I can't remember if it was like last season or beginning of this season.
It was this season.
But he was performing these outside of the boot passes a lot more consistency, a lot more often. And yesterday we saw we saw the consequence of that brilliant pass to Udogie for the opening goal, and that spin on the pass just really allowed Udogie the option to cut back and allow pass it to Bissouma. Obviously a brilliant outside the boot pass, and then continues his run for the third goal as well. So great to see Sonny in this form, great to see him as sharp as he was looking yesterday, and hopefully this break has really done him good.
And it shows. It proved on the pitch yesterday how it's done him good, because we've been criticising Sonny. Well, a lot of fans have been criticising Sonny about he's not taking enough shots, and he definitely wasn't. But he put that right yesterday, and he was taking a number of shots on the day. He completely turned Todibo inside out, and Todibo is considered as, before he joined West Ham, he was considered as one of the best up-and-coming defenders in Europe. So that was great to see. And he just leads by example, doesn't he? He just leads by example.
It's 5 goal contributions in 6 games now, I think.
Unbelievable. So
3 goals, 2 assists.
Not bad for a washed-up player, is it? Everyone talks about Sonny's washed, Sonny's this, Sonny's that. He proves you guys wrong every single time. When are you Sonny doubters ever going to learn? Seriously.
He just needed a bit of a break, and you can see it's helping him.
Yeah.
And look, 32 is no surprise that, at that level, you need to manage a player like that. And if you manage him correctly, you can still get performances like this out of him.
Yeah. Number 3 is brilliant Bissouma.
Yeah, and Bissouma back in the team yesterday. Another player who, I wouldn't say it was a surprise, but I think most people would have had Bentancur in the starting 11 for this game, because he's been playing well this season, and especially Bentancur didn't go on international break and Bissouma did. So, Bentancur might have been the fresher pick for this one, but Bissouma came in and put a brilliant display in the number 6 and back to his best, I feel. After what was, some inconsistent performances. But this season, I feel like Bissouma's really getting back to his best and really performing at the top of his game again. And yesterday, he got not only did he get on the score sheet, which is very unlike Bissouma, but I just thought overall, off the ball, a lot more disciplined. He was a lot more... He was a lot more disciplined in his position, sticking to that number 6 position, but he did feel the moments to go forward. He did feel at the moments to go and help the attack, and could have had an assist if Son scores his goal. Obviously, he did have a goal himself, but I thought the protection he gave the back line was brilliant. He was bossing the West Ham central midfielders for most of the game as well. And it's great to see Bissouma in this kind of form, because if we got him in this kind of form consistently, then he's one of the best players in that position.
Yeah, he really is, and you're really starting to see a Bissouma from the first 10 games of the season starting to creep in, albeit it is the first 10 games of this season. So the thing that we've criticised Bissouma for is consistency. So I really want to see him go on a big run of good performances, because he hasn't shown consistency since joining Tottenham. So hopefully this can be a sign of things to come for Bissouma. And you know what? Bentancur's had a really good season so far, and it was a big decision, in my opinion, to put in Bissouma ahead of Bentancur, because Bentancur's been brilliant. But I think Bissouma's come in this game and he put in a better performance than I think Bentancur has put in this season. So it's great to see that we've got 2 midfielders in that position that are on form at the moment. Yeah, Bentancur didn't have the greatest performance against Brighton, but I think from a general level, his level of performance has been really good this season. So like I said, great to have 2 players that are performing well in that position, and long may it continue. And Bissouma was just an absolute boss yesterday. Absolute boss. Let's move on to number 4, and that is unstoppable Decky.
Yeah, and I think Decky, look, he got his goal yesterday, but I think this season he's just been absolutely phenomenal. And yesterday was a continuation of what has been a real breakout season for Decky in terms of him being in a new position and performing this consistently well and making such an impact in every game. Yesterday, obviously, the goal that he scored really allowed us a platform to go on and win the game. It was such good timing before half-time, when things were getting a bit frustrating and people were getting a bit nervous about where the result was heading. He really turned up at a big time for Spurs, getting that equalizer. But I just thought his overall general play so strong, so effective as well. Teams have struggled to deal with him. His strength, his physicality, his ability to, his nimbleness as well, his ability to weave in and out of tight spaces and challenges, and he's got the creativity when he's in the final third. Not only did he score, he set up the third goal as well with a real good pull back to Heung-min Son, who was running on the overlap, and he had the presence of mind to find him. And that's quite interesting as well, because you look at the 2. The first goal and third goal. The first goal, he cuts inside and shoots and scores. The second goal, he cuts inside to create the space on the outside, and then he plays the pass. So he keeps the opposition guessing as well. He's such a clever player. I feel like he's getting better and better. He's still only 24. He's got so much room to grow, and so much time on his side. So best player of the season so far. Another unbelievable performance against West Ham, and he's just going from strength to strength at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenon, Dejan Kulusevski. Ever since he's moved into the middle of the park, he's started to add consistency, quality to his game. It really brings out his strengths playing in this position, and I'm here for it. I think he's been absolutely brilliant, unplayable at times, and you're just seeing the confidence just reap through him at the moment, aren't you? The way he's playing at the moment, the confidence just brewing through him, and he's the best player on the park every single week at the moment, and players just can't deal with him. They just don't know how to deal with him, and it's hard to deal with someone that has that much physical qualities, but also the quality and the presence of mind and the football IQ that he does have. So having him in the central areas where he can go one way, go the other way, you just don't know which way he's going to go. And even if you do know the way he's going to go, he's got the physicality just to muscle through. So yeah, I can't wax lyrical about Dejan Kulusevski enough, because he's just taken it up like 10 new levels this season. So yeah, big up to Decky. And also on top of that, I said we were having this conversation about leadership in the midweek, and I was saying that Decky should be in this leadership group, and I think he showed signs of leadership again yesterday.
Yeah.
And fifth and final takeaway is that attack clicking.
Yeah, and I think we are starting to see signs of it now. I think the stats bear it out, but as well, I think we can see it on the pitch, the level of chance we're creating. But in terms of the stats, at the time of recording, Man City are playing right now, but at the time of recording, Tottenham are currently joint top for goals scored in the Premier League, which is no mean feat. I know it's only 8 games in, but still shows the level of goals we are scoring at the moment, when we are level with the likes of Man City and over Liverpool. And this season, we've already scored 3+ goals in a game on 4 occasions, and we only did it 9 times last season. So I think that's clear evidence for me that we are really starting to click. We're starting to get those goals, put the ball in the back of the net, essentially, which I think at times last season, maybe even this season, that we've had those struggles to do that. And I think Ange has been very, very consistent that's the first thing we need to fix at this football club, in terms of getting that attack clicking, getting the combinations right, and getting the level of goals we need to score. And I think we're getting signs we're starting to get that now, and people are going to stop looking at the old goal being conceded if we are scoring the level of goals that we currently are scoring.
Absolutely. You just look at recently, since it has started to click the attack, how many goals we're actually scoring. 4 against West Ham yesterday, 2 against Brighton the week before, 2 against Ferencváros, 3 against Manchester United, where it could have been about 6, 3 against Karabag with 10 men the whole game, 3 against Brentford, 2 against Coventry, and then a few weeks before that, 4 against Everton as well. So this attack really is starting to click, and you look at our attack with Sonny on the left, with Brendan on the right, with Dom Solanke in the middle. It is a bit of a mouth-watering front three, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I've been saying. Like, I think we've got a lot of talent there, and a lot of people complaining it's nowhere near the other teams and stuff like that. And I was saying, just give it a few weeks and you might think differently. And maybe people are thinking differently.
And it's not just that, but it's backed up by Maddison and Kulusevski in the middle of the park as well.
I think that gives it that extra spark.
Yeah. So that is the 5 takeaways. Let us know your takeaways in the comments section below. Spurs took West Ham to the cleaners yesterday, and we were there and it was there for all to see. Let's move on and let's finish off on reacts. And I think this is going to be a long one today. We'll start off with football fights. This was Mohamed Kudus against Spurs. Look at that, just slapping everyone.
You know what, we barely touched on that in our match review, but I mean, well, he had lost his head, didn't he?
Completely lost his head. And it was a shame for him, because he was West Ham's best player by far.
Yeah, but this is literally what it was like. Literally, everyone who came in just getting in there, slapping their faces.
And I couldn't believe that the ref only gave him a yellow card, the same punishment as Van der Ven at that time. It's madness.
Crazy. I think a lot of it must have been born out of frustration, because the game had got away from him at that point. Now 4-1 down, and he'd played so well, and it's been all for nothing. And I think it probably boiled over at that moment for him. And yeah, I think you could see when the ref pulled the red card out, he knew, he had nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Trevor Bissouma says, don't think Solanke is getting the credit he deserved from yesterday. Yes, his main job is to score goals, but his all-round play was brilliant. He is much more than just a goal scorer. His hold-up play and strength to get away from his defenders is incredible. And that's pretty much what I've been saying all stream. I mean, the guy, he's just fitted into this team so well, and he's so much more than just getting on the end of crosses and through balls and stuff like that. that, he brings so much more to the team.
Yeah, and I'm sure that will come with time, you know, with the goals and him getting in more scoring positions. But as long as he's providing this for the team, you know, he's gonna be a massive asset to us. And I think Trevor's absolutely right. He was fantastic yesterday, and I think he's been fantastic in the majority of the games this season.
Tottenham tweeted this out yesterday saying, perfect build, perfect finish. And this was Yves Bissouma's goal yesterday.
Yeah, and as much as I think the other 3 goals were more transitional moments, this was a goal brought about through pure build-up, being patient, looking for the opportunities, picking the locks. And we did that brilliantly yesterday. And I think the pass that really made it was Son's pass in behind to Udogie that really opened up West Ham. But I think it's really important that we have this in us as well, not to just hit teams on transition, but also have a patient build-up and break teams down this way, because we have struggled at times, haven't we, to do that this season. But we showed yesterday we are capable of it, even against a solid defence like West Ham.
Absolutely. Tactics saying Kulusevski and Maddison in an attacking midfield role together sounds exciting, but West Ham exploited it in the first half yesterday. Credit to Ange for making the bold decision to replace Maddison at half-time. Sarr's introduction gave Spurs more of a defensive structure.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've been saying. And it was a brave decision. It was a brave call, especially when we're not winning, to take off your biggest creator, potentially anyway, and put on Sarr, who's, you know, not the most creative, but it absolutely worked a treat.
Liv tweets out in Korean, it says, I can't believe Moore and Bergvall are only 1 year apart.
Yeah, I just love having a bit of banter with each other on the touchline. Absolutely fun stuff.
Simon Yemene says, a goal-scoring Bissouma has arrived. He already has 2 goals. 2 goals this season, 2 goals for his national team as well. Unbelievable.
Who would have thought this day would come?
I didn't think it'd come. I mean, he hadn't scored for 2 years in the Spanish.
And also, they've all been decent goals. I mean, yesterday was probably the weakest one, but, you know, the Everton one was brilliant. Famali scored some nice goals as well, so maybe he's got his shooting boots.
Pape Sarr, 45 minutes against West Ham by numbers. 1 assist, 1 chance created, 19 out of 20 accurate passes. I thought it was 20 out of 20. 2 out of his 2 accurate long balls, 3 passes into the final third, 2 out of 2 tackles, 1 block, 2 clearances, 2 recoveries, 4 out of 6 ground duels, 1, 2 fouls, 1, and 1 slap taken like a champ.
That's the most important stat. Because, he didn't skip a beat when Kuda slapped him. Like, Van der Ven and Richarlison both went down like they'd been shot.
Richarlison didn't even get slapped. He just got nudged a little bit.
And Sarr got slapped right back in for it, he was having none of it from Kudus.
Yeah. Sakshi saying, not Sonny giving Kudus the nastiest side-eye after his red card.
No, you don't want a side-eye from Son. You know you've done something wrong if you're getting that. Love that.
Look at this graph here. Billy T says we've created a monster, and this is Decky versus Premier League midfielders.
This is key passes per 90 and progressive runs per 90 as well.
Look, he's just out on his own.
Like, so far away from all the other midfielders.
No, the camera doesn't even get it. He's not even in the graph because our camera's over it.
Top right. Maddison's actually not terrible in this one as well. Key passes, he's quite high up, but progressive runs, not the best. Papsar is there as well, but yeah, Decky is just out and away, so far ahead of anyone. Just shows how amazing he's been this season. I think it really does.
Ollie Davis says, when was the last time Arsenal dropped points and their fans didn't blame the ref?
Never.
I can't remember it.
Never happened.
They always just want to blame everyone but themselves.
Exactly.
Fucking unbelievable. Spurs web saying Dejan Kulusevski speaking to TNT. First half was tough because you cannot always be 100% physically. They did good and they scored, but when I scored, I knew we were going to win. When we played good, we are unbelievable, but we didn't. But we have to defend much better. The balance was not good enough. We have to improve that for the next game. When everything is clicking, we can score 4 goals.
Yeah, and I think he's absolutely right. Like, when we're in this kind of mood, we're a fearsome prospect, and we just got to keep this feeling.
Lee McQueen saying, this guy has been excellent since joining in the summer. The goals and assists may not reflect it yet. Watching him live, he is awesome. Well, watching him on TV, he's awesome as well. Yeah,
he's spot on. And I think, I don't know, was it just 3 goals and he got no assist? He got 1 assist for Brendan. So even the goal contributions are not bad. It's not a bad tally. It's obviously not the...
But everyone gets just, oh my God. Everyone just gets compared to Haaland now, though, don't they?
Exactly. If you're not on 20 goals by now, you're doing badly. But I think first of all, he's getting a good level of goals anyway, but it's his overall contribution is what's really setting him apart.
Yeah. 90 Min says Son reached 250 goal contributions in the Spurs 4-1 victory over West Ham. His importance to the side should never be underestimated. You heard that?
Absolutely spot on. Never be underestimated because he is so effective for us. He's such an important player, and you just can't allow yourself to forget that even when he's had a bad game or two. He's just so good for us.
Yeah. Ethan says, I know that was embarrassing. And this is Van der Ven completely bodying Antonio yesterday.
Love that. Showing a bit of strength there, Van der Ven, which is something which I think, he needs to improve on, but showing there what kind of, that he's still, going toe-to-toe with Antonio there and bullying him off the ball. Brilliant.
VK says, there's always a video. I'm not sure what this video is of.
Just read the captions.
Come on, get off of
Lee
that.
and the other guy saying they're going to go invincible this season.
The hardest game of the season.
He's saying, look, we've played City away and Spurs away and Villa away, so why can't we
Gone to
go?
Man City and not lost there.
Upstep Brighton.
It's
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, I mean.
Exactly. They didn't see Bournemouth coming.
Yeah, so
Opportunities go
unbelievable.
invincible. Is that what you're
The
looking
shame
at
on
now?
these people, man.
Come on,
The
get
next
off of
one
that.
says 4 centre-backs and 3 DMs. This is Arteta bin Laden.
Honestly, football terrorist.
Scroll down. Yeah, this one. Arteta bin Laden, man. He is committing football crimes, man.
100%,
I swear.
100%.
Hotspur report says Son Heung-min is world class and has been for years.
Yeah, I mean, that's not news, is it? We all know that. Come on. If you don't know that, then you don't watch football.
Joel Kim says Son Heung-min scores 123rd goal of his Premier League career. He now moves in the third way tie for 19th place of all EPL scorers list. He's now officially a top 20 scorer of all time.
Come on. Unbelievable. What, in the EPL?
Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Madness.
That's mad numbers.
Blue Deer says, this is Brennan. What do you reckon he's saying to Mohamed Kudus as he's
Get
walking off
you
the
idiot.
pitch?
Stupid. What did he say to Bruno? Get off, you stupid idiot. Or something like that. Well, Brennan's got this little bit of shit attitude about him now, doesn't he?
And you know what, with Brennan, like, whenever there was like a coming together or a player need backing up,
Yeah,
he was
he's
the first one to
you're
dart
right.
in there every time.
You're
And I
right.
think Romero had to calm him down yesterday in the scuffle when Kudus got his red card.
Yeah, Brennan's got his confidence about him at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah. THSC Matthew said, bro predicted the next 3 games before it happened. Sitting on the sidelines, Mohamed Kudus.
Unbelievable.
This is one from Ping7 Nip saying it's, I don't know what that's supposed to, but that's just Son with the
What a
fans
great
yesterday.
picture.
It's great pictures.
Cold. Look at the fans doing his celebration with it. Oh, they're doing the heart celebration. Love that. And Son is loving it, taking it all in.
Next one, Carly says, everyone needs a support pigeon.
100%. We could all do with one.
Spurs Watch, this is Decky's game by numbers, most key passes, not game by numbers, season in against Premier League midfielders. Most key passes, first in Europe. Most progressive run, first in Europe. Most accelerations, first in Europe. Most deep completions, first in Europe. Most dribbles per 90 in the Premier League. And most offensive duels per 90 in the Premier League as well.
He's a monster.
Absolute monster. And just building a beast. Zara says, to be back on the pitch, it's always a joy. It's one of the things I love the most, and playing with my teammates in a beautiful stadium is one of my favourite things to do. And that was Sonny talking after the game yesterday.
Lovely to hear those words from Sonny.
Zara as well saying, my precious team, and Pape just, boxing on Sonny's back yesterday.
He's learning from Romero's love language. A bit of physical contact, love that. A bit of aggression.
Adam says everyone's eating, and look at these player ratings from yesterday.
Yeah,
I think I don't know who this is from.
No, you know what? Is this not player ratings over the season? Because look, it says,
Yeah, you're right. This is player ratings over the season. So everyone's above a 7 in that starting 11.
Wow. And also everyone has a goal contribution.
Yeah, that's
apart from
right.
Vicario.
Unbelievable. We need to get Vicario an assist and then complete it.
Vicario or something.
Ayudi says Cuti's a changed man, and this is the moment actually I was talking about where Romero just goes running to Brennan to try and stop him. Brennan's reckless, mate. He's reckless.
Yeah, Brennan doesn't want to get himself sent off. Yeah, Kuti, and maybe it's the captain's armband giving that bit more responsibility. But
and you know what? We criticised. I heavily criticised his leadership ability after the Brighton game, but that's some leadership ability right there.
I think so.
Kayla saying this picture. You are kidding. Frame it now. That is a brilliant picture. Actually, that's the picture I used for the stream.
There you go.
Well,
oh, not this stream.
Well, this stream, but that's not this stream's thumbnail.
What a picture. Unbelievable. Oh, the love they have for Son is brilliant.
Live score saying 250 goal contributions in a Spurs shirt for Sonny. 250 is mad.
In 416 games.
That's
as well.
mad.
It's more than one every other game. Much more. So fantastic. Yeah, that's it. A goal or assist every 118 minutes.
Simon Yemene saying Son can't beat his man one-on-one anymore. And that's just him absolutely destroying Todibo.
Exactly. Todibo just didn't know where to go. He's literally off balance. Phenomenal dribbling, to be fair, from Sonny, and Todibo put in a pretzel.
Yeah. Alistair Gold saying that Son Heung-min chap seems rather decent.
Yeah, I think he's all right, isn't he? He's all right.
Bell says the parents are back, and that's Kuti and Sonny, captain and vice captain, embracing each other yesterday.
Absolutely. Unbelievable. Great to have the captain as well back on the pitch, and I think it makes a difference.
Denise is saying me liking all the Arsenal slander tweets from last night.
I think you're going to need more phones.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, but that was so good. What a brilliant way to end the day yesterday.
Spurs Express saying Son Heung-min on Instagram. Yes, such an amazing feeling to be back with you all at home. An important win together, a top performance from the boys. Thank you for the love today, everyone. And it must have been a bit of a Sonny loving in the stadium yesterday, was it?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone was he got a standing ovation when he went off the pitch. Everyone was very much loving Sonny's performance yesterday.
Kuti Prop saying, when I'm in a loving Son Heung-min competition and my opponent is Kuti Romero.
And yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win that one.
Blue Deer saying Sonny and little Sonny is Sonny and Pape yesterday embracing each other after the game.
Love that.
THFC Mika is saying anyone who hates Mohamed Kudus is a friend without introduction.
It's a bit harsh, but like, I'm loving that. I don't know if maybe we have that reaction anyway, but you see off the bench, you have all the coaches laughing at Kudus when they see what he did. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't hate Kudus. I just think he's an absolute idiot for what he did.
Mickey VD Ven says, Tottenham has too many laughing spoons. It's annoying because Vicario put on Instagram yesterday, today's man of the match was the hat.
Yeah, and I think he needed that hat because the sun was definitely getting in his eyes. It nearly cost us a goal even, but fair play to whoever got him that hat because we needed it.
Tottenham feed saying Sonny bumping into Kudus at full time. And this was Sonny going, all right, mate.
All right, mate. Love that. Absolutely.
Alice Talks Football saying, I'm a little jealous watching this Tottenham side. They have one of the most exciting projects in football right now. The squad is packed with young, top-tier talent, incredibly fast football, direct and thrilling to watch in possession. Their pressing game is relentless, and the real technical quality and unpredictability, all built around a pure focus of attacking football. While there is still room for improvement off the ball, particularly in defence, it must be exhilarating as a Spurs fan knowing that in nearly every game promises goals and fast-paced action. Kulusevski has been a standout, thriving in the new 8 role Ange has given him and reaching impressive levels this season. Solanke's hold-up play and talent have been added new dimensions to Tottenham's attack. With Tottenham players like Bergwijn, Moore and Gray yet to be fully integrated, the future looks bright and there's every reason to believe that they will only get better with time. And that is unbelievable from Alice. That is a great, that really is a great explanation of where Tottenham are at the moment.
Gets me so pumped.
It really does.
Spot on. And that's coming from a United fan.
Yeah.
Although some speculate she's fully voiced.
Well, she did say on our stream that she wouldn't swap Ange for Ten Hag. I bet she would change that now.
I think so, probably.
Up to June says 20. Spurs official Heung-min Son has scored 20 goals in home Premier League London derbies, with only Thierry Henry and Harry Kane netting more in the competition, both on 30.
Wow, do you reckon he'll break it?
10 more, yeah, I don't see why not. Why
10
not?
more.
He'll break it this season.
Yeah. 10 goals in North London in the London derbies.
Well, he's got Palace coming up next, and I think he scored more against Palace than he has against any other team.
True, fair enough.
EPL Analytics says XG flow, and this was the XG flow of the game yesterday.
Yeah, and you can see we pretty much deserved it as much. Actually, West Ham, it says here they scored against one of play with the goal they scored, but as you can see, as soon as we got that goal, we just flew up, and they just had no answer to it. So, we absolutely deserve the victory.
Football Confidential saying a very happy Spurs squad. Yeah, I love these. Look at Vicario.
Yeah, come on, he's pumped.
Look at Vicario.
Love it.
Oh, brilliant. Bissouma. Mickey. Decky.
Such vibes.
Yeah, the vibes at Tottenham when we win are just unmatched.
Yeah, come on. Everyone's having the best time.
And there's Pape.
Oh, I love
Pedro. All right, let's move on. Son Heung-min yesterday. Look at that. Look
He's
at
shushing.
that.
Who's he shushing? Is it the way? Because he was actually doing it to the Spurs fans. So, because when we scored, he was in front of the Spurs fans when he did
Yeah.
it. So, is he shushing people who thought he was done? I don't know. Or it's just a natural thing to do. He just wasn't thinking and he decided to shush.
Maybe
He's
he.
shushing West Ham fans.
I don't know. I don't know who he's shushing, but he's just shushing.
Just shush. Karma.
We are the Paxton says Tottenham played 8, conceded 8. Narrative Spurs are terrible at the back. Ange needs to be more pragmatic. Arsenal played 8, conceded 8. Narrative Arsenal have the best defence in the league. Arteta is a genius. Make it make sense.
Well, maybe we deserve more credit for the amount of goals we have conceded, because everyone there is right. It's a narrative. He's naive. He only has one way of playing, high line, all this stuff. The reality is, we're not really seeing the downsides to it too much. As much as, yes, we've conceded some silly goals, but in those games, the silly goals are not why we've lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I think he's doing great.
Lee McQueen saying cup final not going so well. That away and emptied out
Yeah.
quick time
That
yesterday.
was empty by the hour mark.
Did
honestly.
Jason stay till the end?
I have to ask him. Probably not. I don't see him.
Ron says Pape Sarr is insanely underrated even by our own fans. 4 goal contributions in all competitions while mostly coming off the bench, let alone his insane work rate and energy he brings. And yeah, I mean, he did have a pretty poor pre-season, but he has been growing into this season really nicely.
Definitely. And yeah, we've been pointing out his improved performances of late. And it's great that people are starting to recognise it now.
Yeah. THFC Mika again saying Son breezing past his defender with ease.
Yeah, brought a tear to my eye.
This one is just they're trying to recreate the old Harry Kane.
But with Son, unbelievable.
This one, Lee White saying laughing my arse off. That was Van de Ven when he got booked yesterday.
That was his reaction, because he was like, he couldn't believe it. He's like, I should get a yellow card as much as Kudos could have won, ref.
Yeah,
That's kind of what
that's
he's
what we
saying.
were all like yesterday.
Yeah, you can see the disgust on his face. Like, he's trying to hold it in, but he was not happy with the referee there.
THFC support, that's Brendan Johnson thing again. Next one is from the Spurs Watch saying no team have scored more goals than Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League this season. And that's still true going into the last 4 minutes of the Man City game.
Exactly. So, look, scoring lots of goals, not conceding that many. Fair play.
StatMuse saying James Maddison led all players in chances created yesterday, and he didn't even play the second half.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying. Like, that's why I was such a surprise that he got taken off, because I thought he was actually having a pretty good game. But look, Ange saw something and got absolutely spot on.
Spurs OTM saying Mohamed Kudus is going to need that seat for the next few weeks. He's going to play for the next 3 games. That is going to really hurt West Ham. Ben White, not the Ben White, says, quick update on this. Now 58 corners faced across 11 matches with just 1 goal conceded. That is mad. 58 corners conceded this season, only 1 conceded.
Yeah, and this what he says, feel like we can maybe put the corner narrative to bed now and not panic when the next one goes in.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think we got a lot of shit for the goal we conceded against Arsenal. I guess because it was a high-profile game, and the whole narrative was so bad at corners, blah, blah, blah. That's the only goal from a corner we've conceded this season.
And you know what? Antonio and West Ham were trying to put Vicario under loads of pressure yesterday, and they didn't come close to scoring from a corner.
Yeah, we dealt with it.
Spurs pictures that go hard. That's Sonny. That is a hard picture.
Yeah, look at that. Looking up at the stadium. Fantastic. With his hair slicked back. Love that.
Shelby showing Vicario running to the subs during the celebration to request a hat.
Here it is. Because you can tell, someone's in his eyes. He's like, come on, get me a hat quick.
SBR saying they were fighting on the pitch. The ones on the bench were giggling.
Yeah, this was them watching what Kudus did, and you can see the reaction of like when they see like Kudus put the hand in the face, like this guy's going off 100%, and they're all giggling.
And Spurs Watch saying, "Have a good weekend, everyone."
Yeah, and I hope we all had a good weekend, because what a great weekend it's been for Spurs fans so far.
Yeah. And there's one last one to bring you, and that is Data MB on Cuti Romero versus Premier League centre-backs this season. First in interceptions, first in forward passes, first in progressive passes, passes into the penalty area second, deep completions second, pass into the final third, tackles fourth, and through passes fourth. So
Yeah, he's learned for all the mistakes he's made. I think in general his performance there was not being bad. It's just those moments of concentration which have let him down.
yeah, which he needs to get better from in that aspect. But on the ball, I think he is having a really good season this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is it. There's more.
Yeah. Well, there's a few more.
Son Heung-min's game by numbers. 10 touches in the opposition box, 5 shots, 3 crosses, 2 chances created, 2 shots on target and 1 goal. It is good to have him back, and we've been saying that all week, haven't we?
Definitely.
XG philosophy, 2.21 to West Ham 0.98.
Yeah, and that shows we definitely deserve the victory and we were dominant, and that's a reflection of that.
Squawker Live saying Son Heung-min's last 10 Premier League home games versus West Ham, 6 goals, 3 assists.
Jeez.
And they tried to put Mohamed Kudus ahead of Son in the combined 11.
They can't handle Sonny.
They tried to put Mohamed Kudus, and how well did that work out?
I think it's ever since that fan was like, you remember that a few years ago, that fan said something to him in the street, and the next game he scored like from 30 yards against Manchester.
Yeah.
Ever since then, he just can't stop scoring against West Ham.
Absolutely. But that is it now, I think. From what do you mean? No,
There's a few more, I think.
I don't have any more here.
Yeah. You're looking at them.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
Okay. HLTCO saying optics are a strange thing. Prior to the collapse at Brighton before the international break, Spurs have won 5 on the spin, scoring 13 and conceding 3. They fell apart at the Amex, and Ange was a fraud whose rigidity and refusal to tweak things would be his downfall. Today, they come from behind to win 4-1 with Maddison taken off for Sarr in a purely tactical call at half-time, which was followed by 3 goals in 7 minutes. In reality, they're a highly entertaining, energetic front-foot side who will have the defensive headaches but will win far more than they lose. I simply don't buy into the view that Postecoglou's career to date in a less fashionable leagues means he'll fail to succeed in England. At least he has the courage of his convictions.
Absolutely spot on. That's coming from a Palace fan as well. So, yeah, I think that's. I think he's read the situation well at the moment. That's how I think the majority of Spurs fans feel.
Ollie Thomas says, since when did Dejan Kulusevski become the best centre midfielder in the league?
That's what I'm talking about, Ollie. Another Palace fan. This is what I was saying before. Dejan Kulusevski at the moment is so consistent. He's really developing into one of the best in the league in that position he is. It's just unstoppable in this current form. And obviously we want to see him do it consistently, but he is doing it consistently at the moment, and that's all we can say.
Up to Joe saying Premier League home wins after conceding first from the start of last season. Tottenham leading the way with 8, Villa, Man City, Man United with 4, and Arsenal, Brighton and Liverpool with 3.
I mean, it probably is because we go behind more than them, I'll probably say. But it's still good to see that we have a fight to, get back in the game.
Rune says Tottenham this season compared to last season in the same fixture. So we've got 13 points this year with 10 last year. That's a 3+. 18 goals scored, 17 last season. 9 goals conceded to 20 last season. That's a massive difference. Goal difference, we're +9 now. We were -3 last season. Expected goals is improved with 16.43 to 15.33 last season. And expected goals against is dramatically down with 9.06 this season and 15.2 last season.
And what a difference it's made. And I know when you go game for game in terms of game week, it's maybe not as good because we had a great first 10 games, but if you go team by team, we're much better off so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Brighton and Newcastle last season were horrific in probably the goals against and expected goals against, because we conceded 4 in both those games.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy T says Vicario with someone Mark Noble never had, a cap.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic stuff from Billy T.
Spurs OTM saying, me watching Kudus lose his head. We were just watching it back with our feet up. That was brilliant.
Fantastic.
Mari says, a big ovation for Sonny. He deserves it so much.
Yeah, and he did get a standing ovation yesterday, which I fully deserved after a brilliant performance after coming back from injury. And yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Spurs Express saying no goal or assist today, but those who watch will know how strong of a performance he put in. Brilliant all-round player, and that is obviously big Dom Solanke.
Yeah, we mentioned that. Solanke, fantastic performance, and I think he's made a great start to life at Spurs.
Statman Dave saying, since joining Tottenham, Kulusevski has been directly involved with 36 Premier League goals. Son is the only current Spurs player who has scored or assisted more goals than him in that time.
Wow.
And that is a monstrous 77.
And that you know, and I think as well that
That's not surprising, though, because he's the one that's been there that whole time. Like, since they're like, Maddison's only been there one
yeah, I
season.
guess that's true. Yeah, fair enough.
Data MB saying
And that's-
Kulusevski
yeah,
versus Premier League midfielders. We've been through that.
And that's it.
And that is finally it. That is finally it. So I told you a long reacts to get your teeth bitten into this weekend. Anything else to get through? Good beats with the super chat. If you could bring it up on screen. Says, good beats entertainment. Do plan A well, and you don't need B or C.
They've just scored in the 95th minute, man.
And
So
Arsenal hearts have just been absolutely
literally last kick of the
crushed.
game. Last
Crushed!
kick of the game.
And last kick of the game, who is it? John Stones.
Yeah.
John
literally.
Stones. He's the one that scored at the Emirates, isn't he, as well?
He is. 95th minute. It looked like they were seeing it out.
Clutch Johnny Stones.
Wow. Oh, they're saying
Oh.
offside.
Oh, what is going
might
on
be
here?
offside. Gary O'Neill was saying he's certain it's offside.
What
He's
is
saying
going
it's
on here?
certain
Let's
it's
actually put it on this screen for the last few minutes. Let's see what they're saying.
Gary O'Neill was screaming offside here.
Oh, they're saying it might be ruled out.
Ruben Diaz doesn't look happy.
VAR check.
Come on, show a replay. Let's see. Where's the offside? They're saying it's offside because Bernardo.
Bernardo.
But no,
That's
but
not
that's not
offside.
offside. That is not offside. He very much.
That can't be
no,
offside.
It can't be because he actually ducks. He actually moves out of the way. No, he's not. Not that point. He's not. At the point of contact, he's not impeding anything.
That can't be offside, surely.
Oh my God! I can't believe it. That is not offside. That is not offside. I'm sorry. He's not impeding anything at that point. At point of contact, he's not.
The referee's going over to the monitor.
He's going to make a decision. I don't think at this point. He's offside here. Look, at point of contact there, he's nowhere near impeding at point of contact. There. How can that be offside?
He's not having an impact.
How
What's
can
the
that be
referee going to
offside?
do here? He's about to make his decision.
Oh my God! Go!
Yeah!
Wow! He gave it. I thought you should do that when they're changing it. I thought.
No, that's just a VAR decision.
Wow.
Bloody hell. Goal given.
That was a goal. I mean, I can't believe Gary Neal was trying to forgaze that. It's not
What do you
offside.
expect, though? You got to do everything to try and forgaze anything against this City team.
Gary Neal was trying to. He's a guy. He knows he's under.
He's on, of course, he's on the bottom of the league.
It's just he's yellow carding someone. It's not offside, mate. It
Never
is
in a
not
million
offside.
years. And watch the Arsenal fans all
There you
come
go.
out about
I
that
can't
now.
wait
Watch
for
them
the
all come out.
meltdown.
The tears are going to be at a maximum.
It is not offside. I think he would have a case if Bernardo was doing that at the point of contact, but as soon as he heads
never
it,
offside.
He's not offside.
Nah. If the referee gave that,
That would have been a disgrace.
who took
Nah,
the
it's
corner?
not offside. Oh, is it Foden? Foden, yeah,
Ah,
Foden.
Foden assist as well.
Yeah. I think a point of contact here, that can't be offside.
Nah.
He's nowhere near impeding.
Well, the ref made the right call.
yeah, I know, but I can't believe he's so adamant. I guess he's got to go for everything he can. can't
Exactly.
he?
He's bottom of the league, getting battered every single week, and he's taken City to the wire. What
Yeah,
do you
it's
expect?
frustration.
I guess we'll wait. We'll finish this game off, and then we'll end the stream. But there will be a few minutes added on here, as Wolves are going to have a last attack of the game.
Well, it shouldn't really be anything added on because they've because it was scored in the 95th minute. So it shouldn't. I don't really see why there should be anything added
Unless
on.
there are any stoppages before.
Yeah, I guess I can't. I don't know that. That's it. I think. Yeah, over.
Over. Big 3 points for Man City on the same weekend that Arsenal have lost.
Did we talk about this super chat? We kind of mentioned it, but we didn't. Good
Go on,
beat
read it
says,
out again.
Do plan A well, and you don't need a plan B or C. #believe.
Yeah, it's true, but sometimes, it can't go well every game, can it? So you need some sort of
but
variety.
we still haven't got plan A right yet. So why change things up when you haven't perfected it?
Yeah, I just feel like if things aren't working, you need to find a different way to do things. And I think he did that yesterday.
Yeah, true. All right.
All right, well, there you have it. That is the post-match stream for you guys. I want to thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with a panel show, so we'll see you all then. Like, subscribe, and comment. 1 second, actually. Just want to tell you that the stats were brought to you by SofaScore today, so the QR code and the link is in the description if you want to download SofaScore.
On the screen.
On the screen, yeah.
Bottom left-hand side of the bottom right corner of the screen.
QR code on the screen, and the link is in the description below. So we'll see you all soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.